Hey, it's Rebecca Smith from the KBIA newsroom in Columbia, and it's time for Missouri Health Talks, a project where we listen in on Missourians' conversations about access to health care. This week we hear from Darren Morton and John Trapp. Darren is the managing director at Turning Point, and John is a principal at 4A Change. They spoke about the post-winter needs of the unhoused community here in Columbia and the barriers they face year-round. Here's Darren.
It's not just because we're dealing with a community or a population of lazy people. It's not that we're dealing with people who are just junkies and druggies. That's not the case. Do we struggle with some of the things? Sure. Do some people choose this lifestyle? Absolutely. Where it's like, I just love living off the grid. This lifestyle is easier for me because there's less responsibility. We have them, but those who choose this lifestyle isn't the ones that we're seeing daily. We truly don't know the story behind the person that you see with the backpack. You don't know the story behind the person you see flying the sign. You truly don't know. We got some gifted, intelligent people, kind-hearted people that fly these signs, people that are out here, but nobody knows that.
Every single one of our unhoused population started out as a child with hopes and dreams and aspirations, and none of them planned to grow up and be homeless on the streets of Columbia. We have a society that creates billionaires, but it's leaving many, many people behind.
Maybe a couple years back, we would open up, Turning Point would be like a cooling center. So like in the winter, we're a warming center, but we also be a cooling center sometimes. But I think people, for some reason, just don't think that the problem is happening in late May, June, July, August. I think just as much as energy as people have when it comes to that winter time, it's the exact same thing. It's just flipped. Because in the winter, everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're going to freeze to death. But you never hear, like in the summertime, like, oh my gosh, they're going to overheat and black out. And you can still die from that as well,
Yeah, I think that's right on. There's a huge gap in the housing options available for homeless folks. Currently, you can get a housing voucher, and if you can find a landlord to take it, you can get an apartment. But that takes a lot of capacity to maintain, and there's nothing short of that. It's either get an apartment and take care of it yourself without getting thrown out, or stay homeless. And as a result, many of the mentally ill remain homeless because they just don't have the capacity to take care of themselves.
The message I always like to get out there is just that this community of people that are unhoused, they're people. They're human beings. Everyone that you see flying a sign isn't some addict. Circumstance truly does play a part. The same way that you would love for your cousin, your auntie, your mother, if they were ill and hurting in other ways, same thing here. They may not be real close to you, but they are our people. This is our community. They're in our town. So just recognize, see them. Don't close our eyes. Don't act as if like they're invisible, when they stand there. They're people. See them.
That was Darren Morton with Turning Point and John Trapp with 4A Change, speaking about Columbia's unhoused community and the barriers they face on a daily basis. That's it for this week's Missouri Health Talks, which was reported and produced by Lior Shamrani. Tune in next week for more conversations from throughout the state about health and access. I'm Rebecca Smith. Thanks for listening.